My guess is at some point President Trump or his surrogates will say, perhaps I am a convicted felon, you are unconvicted felons. You have engaged in egregious conduct. It just hasn't resulted in us using the court system to go after you. I think the Biden campaign needs to be really, really careful. His son may be a convicted felon by this time next week. The other thought I had going...
I hope Donald Trump goes with that strategy, repeatedly coming out and saying, I'm a convicted felon, but then making up a new term and calling Biden an unconvicted felon. Just some great ideas coming out of Fox News here. They went into total meltdown mode after Donald Trump was convicted of all 34 counts of falsifying business records yesterday. And I have more clips, but notice how they immediately pull out the Hunter Biden card. It didn't even take them 30 minutes to start talking about Hunter Biden and the crimes that he allegedly committed. But Hunter Biden is not running for president. Joe Biden is. Donald Trump is also running for president, and he is now a convicted felon.
I mean, we think about that in also the context of the fact that if they're, as we've talked about, going to now start referring to former President Trump as convicted felon Donald Trump, and whether they're going to use that language, that we also know Hunter Biden is facing 2 federal trials, which we can talk about as well, one of them starting on Monday, and the fact that I don't think the Trump campaign is going to pull any punches if Hunter Biden winds up convicted of something. It does look to me.
But literally, who the hell cares about Hunter Biden? I'm being serious. If you pull up any polling data showing what Americans are concerned about heading into the 2024 election, you'll overwhelmingly see that people are worried about stuff like the economy, like healthcare, inflation, education, democracy, issues that actually affect their day-to-day lives. But Fox News acts as if Hunter Biden is at the top of that list, and like 75% of Americans are concerned about what's going on in Hunter Biden's life. But it's honestly just a prime example of Fox News's deflection tactics that they're so good at, used to shield Donald Trump from any sort of accountability or responsibility whatsoever. Like I said, within 30 minutes of the conviction coming out, they already pulled the, but what about Hunter Biden card? Hunter Biden this, Hunter Biden that, trying to deflect away from Donald Trump and his failed campaign.
I don't have the answer to that question. I want to believe that Americans believe in justice, and I think that in their gut, they realize that there is something that is very wrong here. We have gone over a cliff in America. This verdict is a verdict of someone who was forced to fight a 1,000-pound gorilla with both hands tied behind his back. This was a defendant for whom crimes were created, against whom a judge was picked that out of the ordinary, not from the drum, but a judge who was handpicked for this defendant, who denied him the ability to fight the way he needed to fight, who brought in crimes that we've never heard of in New York before, where
yeah, nobody in New York has ever heard of the crime of falsifying business records. That's totally foreign to them. But Stephen Young on Twitter said, I mean, if a jury can convict Trump in a criminal trial after he was defended by his own lawyers and able to cross-examine witnesses, a jury could convict any American. And obviously what he's getting at here is that it's nice to see somebody with power finally held accountable for once. And I have more clips, but I think some of the best meltdowns came from people like Charlie Kirk on Twitter, who are devoted MAGA sycophants. He sent out the tweet a few minutes after the conviction came out saying, breaking, a Manhattan jury has found Trump guilty on all counts. We knew from the start this was the most likely outcome. This case was engineered for years from the very top of the Democrat apparatus to bring down Trump, using a rigged law and a rigged courtroom with a rigged jury. So a few things. Charlie Kirk said he knew from the start this was the most likely outcome, but he would have said that no matter what happened. He would have said they predicted the outcome no matter what. If Trump was not convicted, they would have said that is proof and Trump is vindicated. And since Trump was convicted, they're saying that he's vindicated even further about the deep state. And secondly, there's absolutely no proof of anything he's claiming in this tweet. And this was not a top-down plot to convict Donald Trump and ruin his campaign. This indictment was brought by a grand jury of his peers in Manhattan. He got to use his own lawyers, as I said. They got to cross-examine the witnesses. They got to bring their own witnesses. Judge Merchan was incredibly fair the entire time. This was a completely fair trial, so there's nothing substantiating anything Charlie Kirk said in that first paragraph. He said, Trump will appeal, and this will eventually be overturned. returned, but this is a scar on our nation. It is, but not in the way Charlie Kirk thinks. For today, at least, this country looks more like Venezuela or China or Russia than the United States of America. I mean, that is absolutely laughable. Trump is the one always flirting with authoritarianism, saying people should lose their citizenship if they burn an American flag, which is like one of our First Amendment rights, by always constantly praising Viktor Orban, who ended the democracy in his own country. If anything, a Donald Trump presidency would have us looking more like Russia. Charlie Kirk then says, now we must be ready to maintain our resolve. There will be an unprecedented push to say that Trump cannot be allowed to win, that we cannot elect a convicted felon. Don't give in. They did this because they're desperate. They will lose and they will pay. I guess we'll see. Charlie Kirk went on a tweeting spree after this. He tweeted over and over, today's sham verdict shows Democrats are still seeking retribution from Trump ruining Hillary's glass ceiling party in 2016. He then tweeted a few minutes later, I support Trump more after this crap. We must win. Just a total meltdown. He posts a picture of him and Trump. We must win. We must defeat these savages. He posted a Bible verse, Genesis 50:20. As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. He's tweeted about 30 more times since last night, but we don't even have time to go over all of it. Tim Pool was also in absolute meltdown mode. He's a dude who's always wearing a beanie and calling for a civil war on Twitter, which he did last night. But on May 29th, he posted a poll asking, do you think Trump will be convicted? And his audience voted no, with 67,000 votes. He then quote tweeted that yesterday and said, y'all were wrong. He then said, hashtag free Donald Trump. He then tweeted the word war randomly, just the word war. I don't know what that means. He then posted a painting of Donald Trump saying the first outlaw president. He said truckers should boycott New York. I mean, just totally unhinged. He's obviously totally melting down. He doesn't know how to cope. He's trying to farm engagement off of this event.
This evening, history has been made today, and many have had a visceral reaction one way or the other. What is your reaction tonight? Do you respect what the jurors have had to say in their verdict?
No, I don't, and I think that's part of the jury's fault, but it's really at the fault of Judge Merchan, his jury.
That was Florida Representative Byron Donalds on CNN saying he does not respect what the jurors had to say, that it's all Judge Merchan's fault, really just copy pasting the same MAGA talking points and undermining our legal and judicial system every single day. All of these MAGA sycophants are going on mainstream shows and undermining our legal system, our courts, our judges, saying Judge Merchan was crooked and conflicted, whatever that means. Donald Trump keeps using this phrase conflicted, but there is no evidence of any of this, of course. They really have just been copy pasting the same talking points for the past 24 hours. I haven't heard anything new. I haven't heard anything original or anything that makes me think it's all just BS meant to divert attention away from Donald Trump and deflect the blame. But my name is Adam Mockler. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, hit subscribe on my channel. Let's get to 250K. Comment a blue heart if you made it this far, and have a great day.